The sky darkened as massive alien ships descended over Earth's major cities. Their crystalline hulls reflected sunlight, casting enormous shadows that stretched across bustling streets and quiet neighborhoods. Humanity watched in a mix of terror and silent defiance. Jay Park stood in the underground command center beneath Seoul, his eyes fixed on the holographic displays tracking the alien vessels. Around him, technicians and military strategists worked with calculated precision, their fingers dancing across advanced communication systems. The Galactic Confederation's arrival was not a peaceful diplomatic mission. Commander Zulk, a towering, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms and eyes that seemed to penetrate human consciousness, transmitted a message that would change Earth forever. People of Earth, the alien's voice boomed through every communication channel. Your planet is now under Galactic Confederation control. Resistance is futile. Your resources, your governance, and your future are no longer your own. In cities across the globe, people watched in shock. Military bases went on high alert. Governments that moments ago were rivals now found themselves united by a common threat. Hana Kim, a brilliant young tech specialist, worked furiously beside Jay. Her fingers flew across holographic keyboards, analyzing the alien communication frequencies. Something about their technological approach seemed almost predictable, despite its advanced nature. They're confident, Jay whispered, more to himself than to anyone else. Too confident. The alien demands were brutal and precise. Earth would surrender 70% of its mineral resources, completely open its agricultural production to external control, and submit to immediate political restructuring under Galactic Confederation guidelines. Military leaders around the world watched, in stunned silence as alien transport ships began landing in strategic locations. Massive robotic platforms emerged, scanning landscapes and establishing initial control zones. Cities like New York, Beijing, Moscow, and Tokyo found themselves under immediate alien surveillance. Commander Zulk's holographic projection appeared in United Nations headquarters, his presence both intimidating and coldly bureaucratic. Your previous system of governance is obsolete, he announced. The Galactic Confederation will establish new administrative protocols. Resistance will be met with immediate and total destruction. But beneath the surface, something was brewing. Jay Park and his team were not merely watching, they were planning. In military bases, research facilities, and hidden communication centers across the planet, humans began to organize. Veterans, scientists, hackers, and strategic thinkers started connecting their networks. The alien invasion had done something unexpected. It had united humanity in a way no previous conflict ever had. Hana discovered something interesting in the alien communication patterns. Despite their advanced technology, they followed strict, procedural protocols. Predictable, exploitable. They think we're primitive, she told Jay, showing him complex communication frequency analyses. But they don't understand human adaptability. The first weeks of occupation were tense. Alien robotic units patrolled cities, establishing control zones. Humans were forced to register, submit to scanning, and follow strict movement guidelines. Anyone showing resistance was immediately detained, but resistance was already growing. Underground networks formed. Information was shared through encrypted channels. Small acts of defiance began appearing. Disabled alien surveillance units, communication network interruptions, strategic information gathering. Commander Zulk remained confident. The Galactic Confederation had conquered hundreds of civilizations. Earth would be no different. Just another resource-rich planet to be systematically integrated into their vast interstellar infrastructure. What the aliens didn't know was that humans possessed something they couldn't understand, an unpredictable spirit of resistance. Capability to adapt, to fight back when cornered, to turn seemingly impossible situations into opportunities. Jay Park looked at the holographic map of Earth. Red zones indicating alien control spread across continents, but hidden in those red zones were blue dots, resistance communication points, small, almost invisible, but growing. They think they've won, Jay said quietly to Hana. They have no idea what's coming. The first phase of alien occupation had begun. Humanity was seemingly subdued, controlled, conquered. But beneath the surface, something was stirring. A resistance, a plan, a counterattack that would shock the Galactic Confederation to its very core. The invasion was complete, or so the aliens thought. Little did they know, humanity was just getting started. The alien occupation had been in place for 3 months, but resistance was growing like an underground network of roots, invisible yet powerful. Kang Huang sat in a hidden basement in Seoul, surrounded by screens and communication equipment salvaged from destroyed military bases and private tech companies. Around him, a network of survivors worked silently. Ex-military personnel, hackers, engineers, and ordinary citizens who refused to accept alien control. They shared a single goal: fight back. Hana Kim's breakthrough came from an old satellite communication system. She had discovered a way to piggyback on alien communication frequencies, creating a hidden communication network that the invaders couldn't detect. Each resistance member received a specially designed communication device that looked like an ordinary smartphone but contained complex encryption technology. In abandoned factories across different continents, makeshift research centers emerged. Old manufacturing spaces transformed into secret weapon development labs. Welding machines created custom equipment, 3D printers produced experimental components, and brilliant minds worked around the clock. J. Park's strategic mind was crucial. He mapped out potential weakness points in the alien control system. Their technology was advanced, but every system had vulnerabilities. Humans had something the aliens never expected: creativity and adaptability. Small resistance cells began forming in major cities. In Tokyo, a group of university researchers developed jamming devices that could temporarily disrupt alien surveillance. In New York, ex-military engineers created portable EMP generators that could disable robotic patrol units. The aliens believed they had complete control. Robotic units patrolled streets, scanning residents, monitoring communication channels. Anyone showing suspicious activity was immediately detained or eliminated. But humans were learning, adapting, and planning. Underground tunnels became communication highways. Old subway systems, abandoned mine networks, and complex urban infrastructure provided perfect routes for resistance members to move undetected. Information was their primary weapon. Kang's network collected critical intelligence. They tracked alien patrol routes, identified communication frequencies, and mapped out control centers. Every piece of information was carefully documented and shared through their encrypted network. Hana developed a breakthrough technology, a quantum encryption method that could penetrate alien communication networks. It wasn't just about blocking signals. It was about understanding and potentially manipulating them. In rural areas, farming communities became unexpected resistance bases. They appeared to comply with alien regulations while secretly gathering intelligence and developing survival strategies. Old farming equipment was modified. Communication devices were hidden in plain sight. Jay understood that their resistance couldn't be a traditional military confrontation. The aliens were technologically superior in direct combat. Their strategy needed to be different: asymmetrical, unpredictable, and intelligent. Training camps were established in remote locations. Survival skills, communication techniques, and basic technological adaptation became crucial lessons. Every resistance member learned multiple skills, from basic electronics repair to advanced communication encryption. The alien occupation forces believed they had crushed human spirit. They monitored communication channels, believing they could predict and control human behavior. But they failed to understand the most critical human trait: resilience. Kang's network grew. What started as small, disconnected resistance cells began forming a comprehensive global network. They shared resources, intelligence, and a burning desire to reclaim their planet. In each resistance cell, hope was the most powerful weapon. The belief that humanity could fight back, that they were not just victims but potential victors. Hana continued refining her communication breakthrough. Each day, her encryption methods became more sophisticated. The aliens, supposedly impenetrable, communication systems began showing unexpected vulnerabilities. Jay started planning the next phase. It wasn't just about resistance anymore. It was about preparing a counterattack that would shock the Galactic Confederation. The underground resistance was more than a movement. It was humanity's survival strategy. Silent, growing, and increasingly powerful. The aliens thought they had won. They were wrong. Humanity was preparing to fight back. The night was cold and dark when the first counterattack began. Jay Park's strategic plan had been months in preparation, a complex web of synchronized attacks designed to hit the alien infrastructure where it was most vulnerable. Hana Kim's quantum encryption technology worked perfectly. Alien communication. Networks suddenly went silent in multiple global sectors. The Resistance had spent weeks studying alien patrol routes, communication frequencies, and supply chain vulnerabilities. In Tokyo, a team of ex-military engineers activated specially designed EMP devices that disabled robotic patrol units. Simultaneously in New York, underground resistance fighters used modified industrial lasers to target alien communication relay stations. Commander Zolk received the first alert from his command center. Something was wrong. Multiple communication nodes were going offline. The human resistance was doing something impossible. They were attacking systematically and strategically. Kang Huang's team in Seoul had prepared meticulously. They had tracked alien supply routes for months, identifying key logistical centers. Their first strike would be precise and devastating. The attack wasn't about massive destruction. It was about sending a message. Humans were not going to be passive victims. They were fighters. In Moscow, Resistance members used captured alien transportation codes to redirect supply shipments. Entire cargo routes were disrupted. Critical resources meant for alien control centers were mysteriously redirected or simply disappeared. Jay's plan involved multiple simultaneous attacks across different continents. Each attack was carefully calculated to maximize confusion and minimize direct confrontation. The Resistance understood they couldn't win through traditional warfare. Hana's breakthrough communication technology allowed resistance cells to coordinate without detection. What looked like random disruptions were actually carefully planned strategic moves. The aliens' advanced technology became their weakness. They trusted their systems too much. Alien patrol units found themselves increasingly confused. Communication networks collapsed. Supply routes became unreliable. The seemingly invincible Galactic Confederation started showing unexpected vulnerabilities. In Beijing, a team of hackers infiltrated alien administrative systems. They didn't destroy the systems, they manipulated them. Small changes that created massive confusion. Deployment orders were altered. Resource allocation became chaotic. Commander Zolk watched in disbelief as reports came in. How could a supposedly primitive species create such systematic disruption? The human resistance was doing something unprecedented in galactic history. The resistance understood a critical principle. They didn't need to defeat the aliens militarily. They needed to make occupation impossible. Every small disruption, every disabled communication node, every redirected supply route was a victory. Kang's network grew stronger with each successful operation. Resistance members who were once afraid now felt empowered. They were no longer victims. They were fighters. Jay analyzed each operation carefully. They were learning about alien systems with every interaction. What initially seemed like advanced, impenetrable technology was revealing unexpected weaknesses. The first counterattack wasn't about massive destruction. It was a surgical, precise message. Humanity would not submit. Humanity would fight back. Alien administrative centers became places of increasing panic. Reports of disruptions came from multiple sectors. Their supposedly advanced control systems were being systematically challenged by a species they had considered primitive. Hana continued developing new infiltration techniques. Each successful operation provided more information about alien communication protocols. What seemed impossible a month ago was now becoming routine. The psychological impact was significant. Alien patrol units became more hesitant. Their confidence was shaken. The human resistance had demonstrated something unexpected, an ability to fight back with intelligence and creativity. Commander Zolk understood something was fundamentally changing. The human resistance was not following any known galactic warfare protocol. They were writing their own rules. As dawn broke, the first phase of the counterattack was complete. The Galactic Confederation had received a clear message. Humanity was not going to be a passive conquest. They were going to fight, and they were just getting started. Psychological warfare became humanity's most potent weapon. The Resistance understood that true victory wasn't about destroying the aliens, but about breaking their confidence. Hana Kim developed holographic disinformation campaigns that targeted alien communication networks. These weren't simple propaganda messages, but carefully constructed psychological traps designed to exploit alien cultural vulnerabilities. J. Park studied alien communication patterns meticulously. He discovered something fascinating. The Galactic Confederation had a rigid bureaucratic structure that relied heavily on predictable information flow. Any disruption would cause massive internal confusion. The first psychological operation began in subtle ways. Resistance cells started spreading carefully crafted misinformation through hijacked alien communication channels. False reports of human resistance movements appeared in multiple sectors, making the aliens question their control. Commander Zolk received conflicting reports daily. One moment, a human sector appeared completely subdued. The next, multiple communication nodes suggested massive resistance activities. The uncertainty was mentally devastating. Kang Huang's network used quantum signal disruptions that created deliberate inconsistencies in alien tracking systems. Robotic patrol units would receive contradictory deployment orders. Supply routes would show impossible logistical scenarios. In Tokyo, a team of psychologists and communication experts designed holographic projections that played with alien perception. They created false resistance movements, ghost communication signals, and deliberately confusing tactical scenarios. The aliens' advanced technology became their greatest weakness. Their systems were so interconnected that a small disruption could cause massive internal chaos. Humanity exploited this with surgical precision. Hana's encryption technology allowed resistance members to infiltrate alien administrative networks. They didn't destroy systems. They manipulated them. Deployment. Orders were subtly altered. Resource allocation became increasingly complicated. Jay understood that psychological warfare was about creating doubt. The aliens believed they were technologically superior. The resistance would prove that technology meant nothing without adaptability. Resistance. Cells began leaving deliberate evidence of massive underground movements, false communication signals, fabricated resistance camp locations. The aliens spent more time investigating these false leads than controlling actual territories. Commander Zolk's confidence began to crack. The human resistance was doing something unprecedented in galactic history. They weren't fighting a traditional war. They were dismantling the psychological foundations of invasion. Communication between alien administrative centers became increasingly paranoid. Every report was questioned. Every communication channel was suspect. The resistance had transformed uncertainty into a weapon. In Moscow, a special team created quantum signal disruptions that made alien tracking systems essentially useless. Patrol units would receive conflicting coordinates. Supply routes would show impossible logistical scenarios. Kang's network grew more sophisticated. They understood that information was more powerful than weapons. Each psychological operation was carefully designed to maximize confusion and minimize direct confrontation. The resistance weaponized unpredictability. The aliens expected a traditional resistance movement. Instead, they faced a dynamic, intelligent network that changed tactics constantly. Holographic disinformation campaigns targeted specific alien cultural weaknesses. The resistance studied alien communication protocols, finding subtle ways to introduce doubt and confusion. Jay's strategic mind was crucial. He treated psychological warfare like a complex chess game. Each move was calculated to create maximum psychological impact with minimum direct conflict. Alien administrative centers became places of increasing paranoia. Reports of human resistance activities became increasingly bizarre and unexplainable. Their advanced technology couldn't explain the constant uncertainty. Hana continued developing more complex infiltration techniques. What seemed like random disruptions were actually carefully planned psychological operations designed to break alien confidence. Commander Zolk realized something fundamental was changing. The human resistance wasn't following any known galactic warfare protocol. They were creating their own rules of engagement. The psychological warfare had a clear goal: make the occupation impossible by destroying the aliens' confidence in their own systems. Humanity had transformed from a conquered species to a psychological warfare nightmare. The aliens were losing control, one manipulated communication channel at a time, and they didn't even realize how completely they were being defeated. The negotiation room felt tense. Elena Rodriguez sat confidently, representing Earth's unified government. Across from her, Commander Zolk and other Galactic Confederation representatives looked defeated. Months of psychological warfare and strategic resistance had brought humanity to this moment. The aliens who once viewed Earth as a simple conquest now saw a civilization that had completely transformed their understanding of resistance. Jay Park stood quietly behind Elena, his strategic mind having orchestrated every detail of this moment. Hana Kim's communication technologies and Kang Huang's resistance network had made this possible. "Your occupation is no longer sustainable," Elena stated calmly. Her words carried the weight of humanity's unexpected victory. The resistance had proven that technological superiority meant nothing without adaptability. Commander Zolk struggled to maintain composure. The human resistance had done something unprecedented in galactic history. They had not just resisted, they had systematically dismantled the Confederation's control mechanisms. The terms were clear and non-negotiable: complete alien withdrawal from Earth, full reparations for infrastructure damage, recognition of human sovereignty, no further interference in human affairs. Intelligence gathered during the resistance showed the Galactic Confederation was facing internal challenges. Humanity's unexpected resistance had exposed weaknesses in their supposedly invincible system. Other conquered civilizations would be watching. Kang's global network had transformed from an underground resistance to a sophisticated diplomatic force. They had gathered critical intelligence, developed breakthrough technologies, and proven human resilience. Hana's quantum communication technologies had become a game-changer. What started as a method to disrupt alien systems was now a valuable technological breakthrough that would reshape galactic communication standards. The negotiation wasn't just about Earth. It was a message to the entire Galactic Confederation. Humanity would not be a passive conquest. They would fight, they would adapt, they would survive. Commander Zolk reviewed the gathered intelligence. The humans had systematically destroyed their occupation through psychological warfare, technological innovation, and unprecedented strategic thinking. No previous civilization had ever achieved this. Elena presented detailed documentation of alien violations, resource extraction records, illegal territorial claims, systematic human rights violations. The Confederation found itself on the defensive. For the first time, Jay's strategic planning had prepared for this moment. Every resistance operation, every communication disruption, every psychological warfare technique had been building toward this negotiation. The resistance had transformed humanity's approach to conflict. They didn't need massive military power. They needed intelligence, adaptability, and an unbreakable spirit of resistance. Communication channels across the galaxy would soon spread the news. A supposedly primitive species had not just resisted invasion, they had completely defeated a supposedly superior civilization. Kang watched from a secure communication center, monitoring every detail of the negotiation. The resistance that began in hidden basements and abandoned factories had brought humanity to this moment of triumph. Hana's technologies continued to provide real-time analysis. Every alien communication was monitored, every potential manipulation tracked. The humans were several steps ahead. The negotiation wasn't just about Earth's freedom. It was about establishing a new galactic understanding. Humanity would not be a conquered species. They would be recognized as a sophisticated, intelligent civilization. Commander Zolk realized the fundamental change. The Galactic Confederation's traditional conquest methods had failed completely. Humanity had written a new chapter in galactic resistance. Elena's final statement was clear and powerful. Humanity chooses its own path. We are not a resource to be exploited. We are a civilization to be respected. The resistance had achieved the impossible. They had transformed from a conquered species to a galactic power. The negotiation room fell silent. The victory was complete. Humanity had won.